Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Shri Hari Nam Sankirtan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thanks for that beautiful Kirtan Mataji. Premadatta Prabhu has joined in. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, welcome to the morning session of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
I make you the co-host, Prabhuji.
All right.
Do you want someone to share the screen, Prabhu?
Yes. They can share the first shloka for today, 29:15.
Haribol.
Haribol.
Deepa Mataji, you can do that, Mataji.
Mataji, actually I have a meeting starting at 10 o'clock. So it's better that somebody who's sitting through the meeting be the co-host. Sorry for that.
Okay. Is there anybody who would like to take up the screen sharing? Divya Mataji?
I will try, Mataji.
Very good.
Miss Shloka, Mataji.
So shall I start, Mataji?
Yes.
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Girivaradhari यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना धीरावनचारी यमुना धीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम रामा हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम रामा हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम रामा हरे हरे जय राधा रास बिहारी राधा रास बिहारी राधे जय राधा गोविंद राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे 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 गोविंद 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 राधे जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ स्वामी जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेव सुभद्रा माई जय सुदर्शना जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय भक्त प्रहलाद महाराज जय भक्त प्रहलाद जय गौरान्विताय जय गौरान्विताय नित्य गौरा हरि बोल नित्य गौरा हरि बोल जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम रामा हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल Hare Krishna. Today we will be discussing Srimad Bhagavatam 2.9.15 to 2.9.18 and it will be an interactive class, so please send the message to the coordinator. I would like to end the class today at 9:30. Of course, if there are some questions and if I get onboarded, please forgive me. But please send your names to the coordinator now so that we can have quick reading and explanation and understanding in the class. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tado Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtiki. Okay, so we'll go for the first shloka for today, which is
Deepa Mataji, you can recite.
Yeah, the first shloka I will read 2.9.15. Then the next shloka 16, 17, and 18 devotees can read. So at least I can also do the service. Dadarsha tatra khila sattam patim shriya patim yagyapatim jagatpatim sunandananda prabar hanadhibi swaparshad parshadagre parishevitam vibhum. Synonyms by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Dadarsha means Brahma saw, Tatra means there, Akhila means entire, Sarvatam, Sattvatam means of the great devotees, Patim means the Lord, Shriya of the goddess of fortune, Patim the Lord, Yajna of sacrifice, Patim the Lord, Jagat of the universe, Patim the Lord, Sunanda means Sunanda, Nanda is Nanda, Prabala is Prabala, Arhana, Arhana, Adibi by them, Swaprasada own associates, Agrahe for the foremost, by the foremost, Parishevitam, Parishevitam being served in transcendental love, Vibhum is the great almighty. Now Vibhum, there is an opposite word known as Anum. So we are all Anum, Krishna is Vibhum. Anum means very small atom. So the word modern scientists found this word atom also is from this same word Anu. In English, they call it as atom. So, translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Lord Brahma saw in the Vaikuntha planets the personality of Godhead, who is the Lord of entire devotee community, the Lord of the goddess of fortune, the Lord of all sacrifices, and the Lord of the universe, who is served by the foremost servitors like Nanda, Sunanda, Prabala, Arhana, his immediate associates. When we speak of a king, it is naturally understood, purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. When we speak of a king, it is naturally understood that the king is accompanied by his confidential associates like secretary, private secretary, aide de camp. Now, aide de camp is a word basically used by all the, it's basically, in government, if you go to governor's house in Karnataka or any governor house, or even presidential house, and I've been fortunate enough to see both the president house and the governor house in a couple of states. So I have seen this word, they use aide de camp. So this word is basically refers to some officer on the special duty, which are sent from different armies. And in the current setup, you get one person who may be from any of the defense is actually named as aide de camp of the Honorable President of India or the Honorable Governor of different states. So this word is aide de camp. It's like official person who is on a special duty. So now refer it to those ministers and advisors of the Lord. They are officially people who are his Lord's secretary, private secretary, aide de camp, ministers and advisors. So also when we see the Lord, right, we see him with different energies, associates, confidential servitors, etc. It's a similarity which Srila Prabhupada in the purport is explaining, like how big people in this current setup have. So why not the Lord? So the Supreme Lord, who is the leader of all living entities, the Lord of all devotee sects, the Lord of all opulences, the Lord of sacrifices, the Lord of enjoyer of everything in his entire creation. Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarv loke maheshwaram. He's the Bhoktaram, means wo bhokta hai, wo he's the one who is the enjoyer. It has to be understood in such a way that if there is a lamp which is burning, it burns on its own, but gives light to others. So the others get benefited by the light. So the Lord is also something similar. He has his several energies coming out of him only. And very beautifully, it enlightens all of us to know him. So whatever we are reading today or understanding is all because of his causeless mercy. And he creates this sort of an environment in material world in such a way that although we know the Lord eternally, we have been already associating with him for years and actually forever. But somehow we have fallen into this dark, ghori material world. Maybe because we became overconfident on our own capabilities and we started envying Krishna is one of the major reasons why we fall in this dark well, but we all fall only once. And then we are reclaimed forever. Until unless Lord doesn't feel us to come back and help him in his inner, as one of his energies in this world in any form, and then bring back the souls. So when we understand this concept, Yara dekhe tara kahe Shri Krishna Udesh, and then Srila Prabhupada used to say, the moment you are started gaining this knowledge, start this knowledge distributing to others. Very simple. Lord cannot become happy, although he's beyond happiness and distress, because he's the supreme. But of his causeless, he's Atmaram, because he has all the opulences coming out of him. He's not craving, he's a perfect, he's beyond renunciation. He's beyond renunciation. Renunciation is a concept created by him only. And he's the perfect avadhuta. No rules apply on the Lord, and all the rules come after him. He's beyond all the rules, all the jurisdictions, and all the explanations. He's even explained by his causeless mercy in Bhagavatam. Although Lord Shiva says that very few people can really understand Bhagavatam, Lord Shiva himself says it's very difficult to understand Bhagavatam. And Lord Shiva was reciting Bhagavatam, and that's how Shuka, one of the parrot from the Shuka and Shari heard it, and then he came to this place and went into Vyasdev's wife's womb, and rest is the history. But Srimad Bhagavatam is a very powerful component, an energy of the Lord to explain him by his own will and mercy. So the Supreme Lord, who is the leader of all living entities, the Lord of all devotee sects, is surrounded always by his immediate associates, all engaged in their loving transcendental service. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Agyantimrandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Sa Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanavitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute ताप्त कंचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी कृष्ण भानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि प्रिये वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितनाम पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंगायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणम् सवैरमण कृष्णा पदरविन्दयो सवैरमण कृष्णा पदरविन्दयो श्रीमती राधा रानी की जय, शिला प्रभुपाद की जय. Hare Krishna. So we begin the class, and before I begin the class, we have already read the Bhagavatam Shloka 29.15, 29:15. I always dedicate my every class to my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami, who thought or who felt and shown little piety on me, little, or maybe he was very merciful on me, that he found little piety in me and he initiated me and then second initiated me. I remember every um, incident which happened during my initiation, just to keep myself grounded, that when we become devotees, maybe initiated, and then I got second initiated, I felt that nobody should be able to know that you are initiated and second initiated. That's how one should conduct. If you become serious after first initiation, second initiation, and you lose smile on your face, and you lose to be your original person, and yet following all the disciplines of Vaishnava, then that's that means you are growing. If initiation makes you serious and you lose your laughter and you want to portray to others that I am initiated so that everybody knows that I am initiated. Oh, I wake up early in the morning and I wake up early in the, and you exhibit more to others than internally really you are doing it. And we are doing it just to showcase others. Then that is a very, very dangerous situation. Prabhupada used to say it's like anchoring the whole life. The anchor of the boat is there and you are just rowing the boat thinking I'm going. And that's all ignorance. So you be a Vaishnava like a flower in the hand. It just gives love and care to others. Paropara Dukhi is always feels happy to help others and listen to others' dukha, and he prays for others. And there are many characteristics, 9 devotional characteristics which display how a Vaishnava should be. So every class that I give, I always pray to the Lord that I should be absolutely without this showing business. And I keep praying myself, and that's the reason why I say this every point. 23, 24 years now in ISKCON, and I want to defeat this aspect that I want to do this devotional service to show others. Yes, you must inspire others. You must follow the principles genuinely, even when nobody is looking at you. so that your head is always high in the sky. Like my Guru Maharaj's name, Jai Pataka, victory flag, always hosted very high over every temple or the Arjuna's Ratha. So his name suggests that he'll be always a victory flag. And look to how I see with such a bodily condition as well. His Holiness Jayapataka Swami and so many Bhakti Charu Maharajji and Kadamba Kanana Swami and now Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. They are setting examples in front of us how to overcome these bodily issues. And whenever I wake up early in the morning, I always feel that I'm waking up not to please others, but to please Krishna. And so I want to feel more enthusiastic when I wake up early in the morning. And when I sleep, I try to inculcate this feeling that I'm sleeping early. I must be very happy to wake up early. So that's the mood. That's what I am seeing other devotees following. And that's how I am also trying to inculcate in that, so that you are completely free. Completely free. Why? Because today, if you see the shloka, it's mentioning about Krishna. The Lord Brahma saw Vaikuntha planets, the personality of Godhead, who is the Lord of entire devotee community, the Lord of goddess of fortune, the Lord of all sacrifice, the Lord of universe, and the Lord of complete freedom. He is the Lord of complete abhayam, no bhaya, no fear. He is the Lord of complete fearlessness. Yam bhaveti bhayam swayam. Even the concept of fear is fearful of the Lord. But the essence of picking up Krishna consciousness is to become fearless, is to become unashamed, is to become completely aware of the current situation of our life, is to become completely engrossed in serving the Lord with difficulties, with shortcomings, accepting one's own shortcomings as blessings. You can never be perfect. We are not supposed to be perfect. Material world is not built to attain material perfection, rather aim towards spiritual perfection. So, before we move on to the next shlokas, I am going to read one wonderful devotee shared me this today, one message. Prabhupada's quote, I can see you, you can see me. This is what Srila Prabhupada is telling to one of the quotes, and he's telling to devotees, I can see you, you can see me. Similarly, you can go directly, see God and live with him, dance with him, play with him, eat with him. That is the perfection of life. The reading essence of Bhagavatam is just to attain this perfection. I shared with Bhakti Yoga group run by a wonderful and very lovely friend of mine. He's running the group. I shared it in that group, Ram Govind Ratisha Prabhu. And so simple. Why are we reading Bhagavatam? Just to focus on this word, go directly to see God, live with him, dance with him, play with him, eat with him. Actually, eating, sleeping, and playing and dancing is what all the souls want to do. Why not do it with the Lord? So Bhagavatam is an effort to perfect one's life. But when you perfect in your life, doesn't mean that I have made myself perfectly suitable in material world and then perfectly Every devotee is respecting me. I am now some very big Vaishnava and I have a lot of responsibilities. And now everybody is glorifying me. So now I think I have become a devotee. It may happen as a byproduct, but we don't have to get attracted to that. We have to get attracted to the reason that one day we will leave this world and everything, even the teeth. Can you hear the sound? Or can you hear the bone? The sound of my bone? I will leave this bone away. There's a bone in my neck, forehead. This is I'm going to leave. If I am going to leave my own body, what is going to go with me is the essence of what I have spent, the karmas, what I have done in the Bhavasagar, and the reactions and the chain reactions stop. And then we improve our character. We improve our chastity towards the lost, chastity towards the Lord. Our focus is right to the Lord, despite yuktasya. We are yukta, we are engaged in all the material activities, yet internally we are clean, we are simple, and we just focus on the Lord. And He is the enjoyer of everything. In fact, this world, material world, is directly connected to the heart of the Lord, because there the souls who are missing the direct association of the Lord, He wants them to come to Him, dance with Him, play with Him, eat with Him, enjoy with Him, and come quickly to Him. So with this, He's making us realize that you are not supposed to enjoy individually. You are supposed to enjoy with me in my material world. So you will have no ailments in the body, no thyroid. Just yesterday, I came to know one of the coaching classes in BTM had a teacher. She's a 38-year-old lady with only 2 months for her survival in a coaching class. Just came to know yesterday. 1 month back, she was detected with the highest 4th stage cancer. Khatam ho gaya jeevan. She's going back to her native. She's meeting all her students. My tears were coming out yesterday, seeing all this, hearing all this, but I am praying for her. Itni si hai zindagi, choti si hai zindagi. Ye zindagani bahut choti hai. But we live as if we are going to live forever. That's our problem. We behave as if I just want to love Krishna and nobody else. How is that possible? I just want to respect Krishna and nobody else. How can that be? I have to respect those not only who love Krishna, but I have to respect and help understand those who even don't understand Krishna, and that is preaching. And that's why we are all here. This is simple Krishna consciousness. One who has mastered this art of simplicity has mastered everything. And that should be what I have heard from my seniors, and that's what I should be doing. And so we'll move on to the next sloka, which is going to be 2.17.16. So do we have a devotee ready to quickly read it?
Yes, Vasudha Mataji can recite.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Pranam.
Bhritya prasadhabhimukham drigasvam prasannaha saruna lochananam kiritinam kundalinam chaturbhujam petam sukham vaksasi laksitam sriya.
Vakshasi.
Vakshasi. Okay, bro. Thank you, bro.
Though in English, if you see, it's written sir, but there is a dot below sir. Sometimes M, if you lakshitam, to M, there is a dot. So if I'm not wrong, you can also call it as Lakshitamam. And S, there is a halant. So it becomes, instead of Sriya, it becomes Shriya. So if you see in Sanskrit, the way how the shlok is written, it's Ksha, Ksha, Vakshasi, Lakshitam, not Laksitam. Shriya, not Sriya. Not just to correct you, but it's just so that how we have to relate it. Maybe it was a slip of tongue for you. I'm just using it for preaching.
Okay, Prabhu.
There you go.
Synonyms.
No, you can skip for homework. Let's go for translation.
Okay, Prabhu. Translation, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The personality of Godhead seen leaning favorably towards his loving servitors, his sight intoxicating and attractive, appeared to be very much satisfied. He had a smiling face decorated with an enchanting reddish hue. He was dressed in yellow robes and wore earrings and a helmet on his head. He had 4 hands and his chest was marked with the lines of the goddesses of fortune. Hare Krishna.
Goddess of fortune.
Goddess of fortune.
Purport. Please read, Mother.
Purport, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
In the Padma Purana, Uttarakanda, there is full description of the Yoga Pita, or the particular place where the Lord is in audience to his eternal devotees. In that Yoga Pita, the personifications of religion, knowledge, opulence, and renunciation are all seated at the lotus feet of the Lord. The 4 Vedas, namely Rik, Sama, Yajur, and Atharva, are present there personally to advise the Lord. The 16 energies headed by Chanda Prabhu, I can pronounce, Chanda, are all present there. Chanda and Kumuda are the first 2 doorkeepers. At the middle door are the doorkeepers named Bhadra and Subhadra, and at the last door are Jaya and Vijaya. There are other doorkeepers also named Kumuda, Kumudaksha, Pundarika, Vamana, Sankukarna, Sarvanetra, Sumukha, etc. The Lord's palace is well decorated and protected by the above mentioned doorkeepers. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
So I want to tell you, when I was just beginning my life in Krishna consciousness, whenever it was an inherent feeling which was coming to me, I had a feeling I wanted to quickly finish Bhagavatam. And so whenever I used to hear such descriptive Kumuda, Kumudaksha, Pundarika, Vamana, I used to quickly skip and say, "Arey, ye maza nahi. Arey, ye to pata nahi kya hai. Chalo, chalo, isko aage badho." If any of you is similarly undergoing this feeling that you want to skip reading these in the big purports, don't be in a hurry. I'm just sharing what I'm going through. After 24 years, I have understood and changed my behavior. I read these words, Kumuda, Kumudaksha, Pundarika, Vamana, more vigorously and intensively, Shankukarna, Sarvanetra, Sumukha, etc., with lot of love, joy, and honor. Honor. Because these scriptures, every word of this scripture has the potency to deliver, because they are the energies of the Lord. These every word, every person mentioned here, doorkeepers, are the eternal servitors of the Lord. And what to talk about Shivas Pandita? I think, if I'm not wrong, correct me, today is disappearance day of Shivas Pandita. And he's the spatial associate of Lord Chaitanya. So in the end, I will read down one of the groups run by my Srila Guru Maharaj's disciples, and I'll just read out some small message from that group, which will be on the glorification of Srivas Pandita just before we end the class. So this Yoga Pitha or the Matha is a place, Pitha is a place where these devotees, they are the eternal associates of the Lord, where they go and directly hear from the Lord. Now we are also sitting here, one devotee is singing these shlokas and I was hearing, and first shloka I said. So we are also like, it's like a pitha here. And it's a pitha which is a place which dwells with the messages about the Lord, which dwells about the actions and what not actions have to be done. It talks about the innermost desire of the Lord. It talks about the innermost feelings of the Lord, how we have to please him. It gives an indication to all of us that even in spiritual world, everything is well established. It is in fact very highly organized world. Srila Prabhupada tells this is also because Krishna is maintaining that spiritual world. If he stops maintaining the spiritual world, even spiritual world will collapse. That means the Lord energy is keeping the spiritual world intact, and only our unwanted desires, which have to be tuned, we are thrown into this andakupam for some time to realize that we have to give away our individual temperament, which is temporary, to individually enjoy without the Lord. It has to be done in the full capacity, with full vigor and zeal with the Lord. So that is how the message of Srimad Bhagavatam is reading in these shlokas to let us know that everything is well situated, and Lord is not alone, he is with his parshads. There is already a system which is in place. Please be prepared yourself in the art of leaving this world to enter into a much more organized world than what it is currently. It is much more rigorous world. It is much more world which requires much more capabilities than what we are. We are bounded in temporary human bodies. But in spiritual body, in spirit, when you are in complete spirit form, in your original form, you are being reduced to 1/10 the time of the tip of a hair. And then within the heart, we are situated, the soul is situated with the Divya Atma also, with the divine presence of the Lord also within our heart. We are running this like a cell. Soul acts like a cell to this battery. The soul leaves, the body dies. So we should make use of this body in such a way that we fulfill the minimum demands of this body, yet do not get captivated in just fulfilling the demands of this body. Fulfilling the demands of how this world is running, but not just completely get captivated in the demand of this external world. And that is why we have to grow internally to be detached to this external world. That's Krishna consciousness. So let's have another devotee who would like to sing 2:9:17.
Hare Krishna. Just there are a few verses and many have raised their hand. Divya Mataji can go with the verse, Ramakrishna Prabhu with the translation, and if Prashanti Mataji with the perfect. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat pranams.
अद्यार्हणीयासनं मास्थितं परं वृतं चतुष्षोडशा पञ्चशक्तिभिः युक्तं भगैश्वर्यतरत्र चान्द्रुवै स्वयेव दामन् रममानमीश्वरम्. हरे कृष्ण प्रभुजी, दंडवत प्रणाम.
Translation, somebody go. Rama Prabhu can do.
Ramakrishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Translation. The Lord was seated on his throne and was surrounded by different energies like the 4, the 16, the 5, and the 6 natural appearances, along with other insignificant energies of the temporary character. But he was the actual Supreme Lord, enjoying his own abode. Perfect. Perfect by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Prashanti Mataji can go ahead with the purport.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. The Lord is naturally endowed with his 6 opulences. Specifically, he is the richest, he is the most powerful, he is the most famous, he is the most beautiful, he is the greatest in knowledge, and he is the greatest renouncer as well. And for his material creative energies, he is served by 4, namely the principles of Prakriti, Purusha, Mahatattva, and ego. He is also served by the 16, namely the 5 elements: earth, water, air, fire, and sky, the 5 perceptive sense organs, the eye, ear, nose, tongue, and skin, the 5 working sense organs, the hand, the leg, the stomach, the evacuation outlet, and the genitals, and the mind. The 5 includes the sense objects, namely form, taste, smell, sound, and taste. All these 25 items serve the Lord in the material creation, and all of them are personally present to serve the Lord. The insignificant opulences, numbering 8, the Astasiddhis, attained by yogis for temporary overlordship, and are also under his control. But he is naturally full with all such powers without any effort, and therefore he is the Supreme Lord. The living being, by severe penance and performance of bodily exercises, can temporarily attain some wonderful power, but that does not make him the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord, by his own potency, is unlimitedly more powerful than any yogi. He is unlimitedly more learned than any jnani. He is unlimitedly richer than any wealthy person. He is unlimitedly more beautiful than any beautiful living being, and he is unlimitedly more charitable than any philanthropist. He is above all. No one is equal to or greater than him, nor can anyone reach his level of perfection in any of the above powers by any amount of penance or yogic demonstrations. The yogis are dependent on his mercy. Out of his immensely charitable disposition, he can award some temporary powers to the yogis. Hankering because of the yogis to his unalloyed devotees who do not want anything but save and accept his transcendental service. The Lord is so pleased that he gives himself in exchange for unalloyed service. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
So, 2 things I can share with you here, and you also can meditate on these points. I would like to hear from all of you also, but sometimes I feel as a speaker, if I don't speak anything, that's interaction means I have to convey some message. Otherwise, why am I a speaker here? Just to technically keep, otherwise, this is very self-explanatory and very descriptive. But spending some time in Krishna consciousness, you keep understanding the deeper meanings of the same purports each time you read. You go more deeper in the ocean and you get more deeper motis, the gems and jewels. The higher, deeper you go, the deeper you understand in the ocean. Like that, Lord is like an ocean. So just to technically state these points here is that in the spiritual world, the Lord is the maintainer of everybody. But there, I want to tell you that as much as I've heard from senior Vaishnavas, the environment is very, I mean, you live a very independent life over there, much more independent, because one very basic difference is material body has lot of limitations. Imagine in spiritual world, we are spiritual, we are Atma. We don't need any superficial body to sustain over there. Some devotees call it a spiritual body just to make us understand, but we are actually Atma. We are part and parcels of the Lord. So imagine if Lord is so potential, our potential is where? We don't have, we are unused potential people. Let me be very. In material world, the situation of a soul is very it is practically purposefully made very, very limited powers, because Lord wants us not to physically understand him, but understand him with heart and love and innermost feelings, and improve our desire. But दुर्भाग्य है इस दुनिया का, the illusion of this world makes you become powerful bodily, so only you will, and your influence should be around us. The whole purpose of this material world is created for us to give up the tendency of acquiring power, like Ashtasiddhis. Everything is there in the Lord. Imagine the Lord, the same soul, part and parcel of the Lord, will also have these tendencies in a limited, in lesser than the Lord. But quality wise, we are like the same chemistry as Krishna. No difference at all. He is the Lord. So that is what he is mentioning. It's been mentioned here, that he is ultimately, unlimitedly powerful. Now, in material world, why are we being taught about the power of the Lord, when we know that in spiritual world, we just treat Krishna as everything of our heart? We just do it because we love him. We're not scared of Krishna over there. We don't think that he's God. We think he's everything of ours. There's a difference between when you love somebody who is very powerful because he's God, or when you feel because you don't care he's God or not, but you just love Krishna because he is Krishna, not because of his characteristics, but because he is whatever he is. He loves to play flute, he loves to wear morpunk, he loves to have cow grazing, he is Yamuna Tira Vanachari. We love him because he is lovable. And if you ask somebody in spiritual world, why do you love Krishna? And you say, I think he will be like, I love Krishna because I love him. And you ask him reasons, and probably if he starts finding reasons, he'll just, because time is linear, it never ends in spiritual world. Time is linear. He can entire spiritual world, he'll keep singing the glories of the Lord. And that's the beauty of Krishna. Yet Krishna, along with his Parshadas, with his very innermost devotees like Narad Muni, I'll give you an incident, and before we go on to the last shloka for today, I have a few more minutes. So there was a time when Narad Muni, Lord Ram had won the battle. He was in his kingdom. Ram Rajya जिसे कहा जाता है आज की दुनिया में, राम राज्य है, सब कुछ अपनी जगह पे है, everything is taken care. Ram means one who pleases the mind. So it is said that during his time, everybody was enjoying. But that doesn't mean that they were not Ravanas, they were not demons over there at that time. There were not disturbances. People think Ram Rajya means there were no disturbances. Disturbances will be there. Because after all, this was material world. And so the Lord undergoes some pastimes. So in one of the day in his courtyard, Lord Ram is present. And people are saying, Bhagwan Shri Ram ki jai, Prabhu Shri Ram ki jai, Raja Ram ki jai. And suddenly in that, Narad Muni enters. And everybody, he sees Ram is pleasing everybody. He's listening to every individual person who has come. Unki faryadein sun rahe the. He's like spending a day in the life of Sri Ram like that. And he comes in the end, Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. And he looks to Lord Ram. He sees he's somewhere, he's laughing with somebody, he's enjoying with somebody in his courtyard, he's talking, and then everybody's surrounding him. And then one by one, he's making everybody happy. And slowly the subjects are leaving and the ministers are leaving. In the end, it's only Lord Ram who is about to leave, but his attendants are there all around. And the king is about to leave for his palace to take rest and to have food, whatever. And Narad Muni comes and sees, Prabhu, kaise ho? And Prabhu says, Acha hu Narad, I am good. How are you, Narad? Kaise hai Munivar? Narada says, Narayan, Narayan, I am very blissful and happy taking your name, my Lord. Narayan, Narayan. Lord said, I am very happy to see you as well. Tell me, how did you come today? How did you lose a track and came to me? He said, No, my Lord. I just wanted to see your glorious face, your beautiful features. Kundalam, nose, lotus lips. Lord is so beautiful when he catches the Panchajanya Shankha to blow either in the battlefield or in the entrance of Dwarka to alert his 16,000 wives, Ram, the Krishna. His lips are so beautiful, and like morning dusk, he touches with his lotus lips the Shankha, which is so white. He plays the Shankha. The Panchajanya Shankha becomes of the similar color as the orangish, reddish sky happens in the morning. And the Shankha blushes, and the rom, every particle in the body of the Shankha feels immense pleasure and lightness. That's the beauty. And imagine the touch of the lips of the Lord. Completely you are free from any worries of life. That's how Panchajanya Shankha, giving yourself completely in the hands of the Lord, is another lesson from the Panchajanya. Oh Lord, you take every control of my life willingly, happily, and intensely with my full vigor and power. I am happy to the way that you run my life, whether I understand my own life or own self or not. Maybe you know better for my sustenance. Like that, Narad Muni exhibited his devotional service, sentiments of his heart to the Lord Ram. And yet he changed the topic. And he said, Oh my Lord, hope everybody is happy in your kingdom. And that too, he was hesitant to say this because he wanted to test the Lord. He was doing some testing of the Lord to glorify the Lord and his power. And actually, he had hidden an ant, and you must have heard this, in a small box with some holes so that the air could come. And he was hiding within his vastras which he was wearing. And he said, Lord, and he was hesitant to ask to start this test when Lord said, something is going in your mind. Why don't you go and ask me something? Is everything okay, Narada? He says, my Lord, I just want to ask you one question. Is everybody happy in your kingdom? He says, yeah, everybody is happy. And second time, Narada asks the question, Lord, is everybody happy in your kingdom? Free, happy, not worried about next week, next anything, next meal, next incident happening in his life, good or bad? He said, yes. He said, think again, my Lord. And the Lord said, are you talking about that small ant which is in the box you hid somewhere in your clothes? Do you talking about that small ant? Tiny Indra Gopam. He says, oh, he got embarrassed. He said, oh, you caught me, my Lord. And with so much of, as if he's caught, he's bringing it out. Yeah, Lord, I just wanted to test you. And he said, okay, I've taken care of him also, if you want to know. Just open the box. And he sees there's a rice grain, and that ant is busy taking that rice grain. And Narad Muni was surprised. I just put ant into the box. How did this ant got the food to eat? And the grain of rice had moisture in it. So cooked rice had moisture in it, so the ant could take the water as well as the food from there. A perfect arrangement of a dinner. Now he was perplexed completely, and he said, how did this happen? He said, maybe somewhere in the morning when you paid dandavats after having a prasadam, the grain rice which you took went on your forehead, because he's just wearing a jata and all that. Sannyasis don't cut their hair. And that rice got stuck, and when you were closing that ant onto the box, it fell. So naturally my energies work in such a way that it will take care of everyone. It may appear that they are in a temporary condition, but eventually I take care of everybody, right from Duryodhana to the demons and to the suras and to even the eternal liberated devotees. He's taking care like a mother, feeding, breastfeeding, or feeding with some food, like a baby in hand. He takes care of every living entity, although it appears to be that you walk and some ants are killed. So how is Lord taking care of them? But in his arrangement, everything is taken care. He's well aware of this. So with these, let's go to with this wonderful story, let's finish the last shloka. I know 2 minutes over. Any other?
Dandavad
Pranam Mataji, Tanad Pranam Prabhuji.
The verse and the translation.
Text
And
18, right?
Yes, thank you. 18.
Tad Darshanalata Pariplutantaro Hrishyat Tanu Prema Barashulochana Nanama Padham Bujasya Vishwashrik Yat Paraham Siena Padhadi Gampyate. Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranam Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
The translation also, Mataji.
Hare Krishna,
Some Prabhu is
translation
there.
by
Some
A.C.
Prabhu is joined.
Bhaktivedanta Prabhuji.
Some Prabhu is there who would like to read.
Nobody raised their hand, Prabhu. That is the reason.
Is that?
Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Lord Brahmada, seeing the personality of Godhead in his fullness, was overwhelmed with joy within his heart, and thus in full transcendental love and ecstasy, his eye filled with tears of love. He thus bowed down before the Lord. That is the way of the highest perfection of the living being, Paramahamsa. Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranam Prabhuji, Hari Bol. Thank you.
Krishnamurti Prabhu, you can go ahead with the purport.
Hari
Hare Krishna.
Hari Hari.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Mataji.
बढ़िया प्रभु जी, please पढ़िए.
Purport by A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Prabhupada ki jai. In the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that this great literature is meant for the Paramahamsas, Paramo Nirmasarana Nirmastranam
Nirmat Sharanam Satam.
Satam. That is, the Srimad Bhagavatam is meant for persons completely free from malice.
Malice is what?
Malice.
Dirt, dirty.
In the conditioned life, the malicious life begins from the top, namely bearing malice against the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Personality of Godhead is an established fact in all the revealed scriptures. And in the Bhagavad Gita, the personal future of the Supreme Lord is especially mentioned. So much so that the last portion of the great literature has emphatically stressed that one should surrender unto the personality of Godhead to be saved from the miseries of life. Unfortunately, persons with impious backgrounds do not believe in the personality of Godhead, and everyone wants to become God himself without any qualification. This the malicious nature is the conditioned soul continues even up to the stage when a person wants to be one with the Lord. One with the Supreme Lord. And thus, even the greatest of the empiric philosophers speculating on becoming one with the Supreme Lord cannot become a Paramahamsa because the malicious mind is there. Therefore, the Paramahamsa stage of life can be attained only by those who are fixed in the practice of Bhakti Yoga. This Bhakti Yoga begins if a person has the firm conviction that simply discharging devotional service to the Lord in full transcendental love can elevate him to the highest perfectional stage of life. Brahmaji believed in this art of Bhakti Yoga. He believed in the instruction of the Lord to execute tapa, and he discharged the function with great penance and thus achieved the great success of seeing the Vaikuntha Lokas and the Lord also by personal experience. No one can reach the abode of the Supreme Lord by any mechanical means of the mind or mission, but one can reach the abode of the Vaikuntha Lokas simply by following the process of Bhakti Yoga, because the Lord can be realized only through the Bhakti Yoga process. Lord Brahmaji was actually sitting on his lotus seat, and from there, by executing the process of Bhakti Yoga in great seriousness, he could see the Vaikuntha Lokas with all variegatedness, as well as the Lord and his associates. Following is the footsteps of the Lord Brahma. Any person, even up to this day, can attain this same perfection by following the path of the Paramahamsa as recommended herein. Lord Chaitanya also approved of this method of self-realization for men in this age. One should first, with all conviction, believe in the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, and without making efforts to realize him by speculative philosophy. One should prefer to hear about him from the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, later from the late text of Srimad Bhagavatam. One should hear such discourses.
See, I'm not the host, no?
One should hear such discourses from a person Bhagavatam, and not from the professional man or from the karmi, jnani or yogi. That is the secret of learning the science. One does not need to be a bona fide devotee of the Lord and hear from him the transcendental message of the Lord with faith and conviction. That is the path of the Paramahamsa recommended herein. Amongst various holy names of the Lord, he is also called Ajita, or one who can never be conquered by anyone else. Yet he can be conquered by the Paramahamsa path, as practically realized and shown by the great spiritual master Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma has personally recommended this Paramahamsa Pantha in his own words as follows. Dane prayasam udapyasya namanta eva jivantis sanmukharitam Bhavadivya Vartam Stane Stita Shruti Gatim Tanuvan Manobhir Ye Prayaso Jita Jito Pai Asi Tais Tilokyam. Lord Brahma said, O my Lord, a devotee who abandons the path of empiric philosophical speculation aimed at merging in the existence of the Supreme Lord, engage himself in hearing your glories and activities from a bona fide sadhu or saint, and who lives in an honest life in the occupational engagement of his social life, can conquer your sympathy and mercy even though you are Ajita or unconquerable. Bhagavad Gita 10, Bhagavatam 10:14.3. That is the path of the Paramahamsas, which was personally followed by Lord Brahma and later recommended by him for attaining perfect success in life. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hari Bol. So just with last point before we conclude, if you notice every class in the beginning, I say that let's live an honest life. This is what he's explaining us. See the purport. Lord Brahma himself, right? I mean, here it is written, "Oh my Lord Krishna, devotee who abandons the path of empirical philosophical speculation." Jab bhakti yoga hai, when we have the marg of bhakti yoga, why to unnecessarily start, keep trying to judge the Lord? Oh, I am seeing this and that. It's simple. You serve the Lord, automatically things will be revealed. So one who lives an honest life, this is the honesty. Even after becoming initiated, second initiated, don't have that adambar, that, okay, you have certain way to behave, that's okay. But don't lose your honesty, which you are originally. You have to curtail some of your habits, and you have to give up some very desires which just take you away from Krishna. But the way you are, you may be a funny person, you may be the one who loves the life, continue living that same life, and don't take the burden of initiations or burden of bhakti. You should not take burden of bhakti and you become like head down and, oh, I can't do this. You can do everything in the flavor of Krishna. And of course, a small example I'll give you is a cup of tea. So generally devotees, they try to give up this sense gratification of tea because tea has chai, has tannin, coffee has caffeine. So why we give up this? I want to just take this point here. Whenever I have been preaching to so many in 24 years, people say, why did you leave tea and coffee? I mean, can we not do devotion along with that? The answer is, we are in such a dilapidated state of life that if you start saying, okay, I can take tea and then do, then I'll start doing this and then do, then you will see, you are engaged completely in all the things with intoxication, and yet thinking that I'm praying God. I know in my personal life, some people who do every thing which is not supposed to be done. They do everything and yet they claim that they love God. That's not the way the freedom will come in our life. The freedom comes when you, in the above previous shloka, in this same shloka, the above word melites, आपको बुराई से तो दूर होना ही पड़ेगा. Because imagine, a body in itself has so much of filth which is every day coming out. So sauchanam, you have to keep yourself clean. So this is the message what we have to take before we leave this class today, is that like how we discipline ourselves and do away with tea and coffee is a very small example, that if we can't leave tea and coffee in this world, How can you leave the attachment to any other thing in this world and say that I am detached to this world? And now I'm like, I want to smoke, I want to drink, I want to eat tobacco, I want to enjoy with another's woman, I want to do all nonsense things, and yet I say I am love God. It is practically impossible. I want to talk bad about others. मुझे दूसरों की बुराई करनी है, neighbors की, इसकी, उसकी, इस devotee की, उस devotee की. And then you feel you want to love God. How it is practically possible? That's what means honest life. But honesty ऐसी भी नहीं होनी चाहिए. It should not be so. This is not honesty. Somebody tells you, Prabhu, leave tea, coffee. No, it is after all, it's anyway, tea, coffee has so many things. Leave tea, coffee and take to some health drink, which is coming from some temple, which is made up of, something. You can take that at least. And you tell him, no, Baba. And you be honest to him and say, honestly, I'm saying I can't give tea. This honesty is actually dishonesty. Please chant, Prabhuji, Mataji, 16 rounds, or at least start chanting. No, Prabhuji, I love Krishna, but I can't chant. This is not honesty. This is honesty, okay, but this honesty becomes a escape mechanism. And I know I have personally experienced so many wonderful friends of mine from my childhood friends. I've been telling them from past so many years, please chant. And they say, I can't. Well, how Prabhupada says, chanting, they say, can't. So that's not honesty. Bringing your incapabilities out for some time is okay, but you have to work in coming over above, at least pray to the Lord to come over these tendencies, to give up these tendencies and become like how Panchajanya Shank. You have to place yourself in the hands of the Lord by following the discipline. Nobody likes to wake up in the cold morning, early in the morning, but you have to. There is no choice. But when you start mastering the art of waking up early in the morning, you will really feel the whole day goes very well. And something God is also gives you some spiritual feelings that when you wake up early in the morning, you really feel light. Please practice it. I know all of you are practicing here, but I'm just saying in that word. Sometimes it's okay. You have been waking up early, you slept late and you are having a headache and you sleep a little longer. It's okay. The spirituals, the whole material sky will not fall down. So there is a balance you have to maintain. You have to maintain a balance, Prabhuji and Matajis. That if you have woken up for a couple of days, either you make your sleep somewhere in the afternoon to take rest, but don't get into a, so much of strictness that you land up becoming a heart patient. You should know how to take sufficient rest also. That's knowing, being honest with your occupational engagement of our individual social lives. That will help us conquer sympathy and mercy of who you are, O my Ajita, O my unconquerable Lord, and let you conquer me completely in this life. Continue praying, continue doing. Krishna consciousness means when Lord is some Siddhi Haritosha, when he is pleased by us, he will make a suitable arrangement for us to get transferred into the eternal place. We don't have to worry about things. It is like he has to pick up. So we have to just worry about our part. He will definitely do his part because he's not happy us being troubled here. He is not at all happy. He's beautiful. That's his beauty. Okay. With this, we'll end today's class. Om Tat Sat Vancha Kaltarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyev Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. I hope you all are happy and blissful in Krishna consciousness. And this ends our today's class. I know the coordinator Mataji, I was told has to open her clinic, so she might not be here. So I have to end the class today. Sorry, we onboarded maybe because of little longer purports. Anybody has any comment or feedback? Please let me know. Otherwise, we'll call the session as an end. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
Dandavat
Prabhuji.
pranam.
Thank you so much.
Very
Prabhuji,
nice
Dandavat
session.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Dandavat pranam.
Pranam. Pranam.
Hari Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Session, Prabhuji.
Pranam, Mataji.
Dandavat
Pranam.
pranams.
Krishna
Please pray for me.
very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for a wonderful session.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Thank you, ma'am. All right. We'll end this class today. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.